Hey guys, stab in the eye here. The lock I have for you today is the Masterlock 911. I think it's a pretty cool little lock. It's pretty well made. I really like the weather protection on this lock. It really does hold well up to the elements over time. The core is pretty decent with 4 spools and one slightly serrated. Has some pretty good picking resistance. What's really hard about this lock is a lot of the times you'll have it picked open and you won't even know it. It has a really strong spring tension on the core and you really gotta just crank it over. But the trouble is, when you look at the keyway here, you can see that it's pretty recessed. So when you get that top of the keyway in there, or bottom of the keyway can be a little tough sometimes, the tension wrench loves to fall out. And that can make it really frustrating when you have to use a lot of force to turn the core over to get it open. Not only on top of that, as you're turning it over, you have to manually pull on the hasp to open it. It will not pop on its own. So for someone that is, still getting used to lock picking and learning, this is a great lock to learn on. There's a lot of factors at play to make this a tough lock. It's also a 6-pin core that comes pinned to 5. It's great for you to progressive pin it if you want to learn spools. It has a lot of spool feedback, very drastic counter rotation, very good lock to get the feel of spools. My only complaint about this lock is the fact that it is an 8mm shackle here. For everything that it has going for it, I would wish that they would have just put just a little bit of a beefier shackle on just to make it just a little bit more secure from cutting resistance. However, I do want to show you one thing before we get into it. This is a lock that I got from a friend that was on a shed, and this was on for years. He didn't want it anymore. At the time, he had lost the key, so he asked me to take it off his shed for him, and I obliged. You can see that it does have some rust. The core is pretty well held up to the weather, but the inside's a little rusty, and it really does need a good squirt of lubricant before you do attempt to pick it. But that's not going to be the focus of this post today. I'm going to show you how a new Masterlock out of the box picks that's never been in use. So here's the key. You can see that. And I'm going to be picking this with a top of the keyway in 40 thousandths and a standard hook in 25 thousandths. And we'll see what it takes to get into it. Okay. See what I mean about the tension wrench is always wanting to fall out. A lot of counter rotation on 1, on 2, on 3, 4, and 5, and we are open. Now, just gonna get this core out. Okay, well, that's the core. Now, just similar to American locks, I like to gut the lock counterclockwise because I want this piece here to be covering the driver pin so they won't shoot down when a gap with the follower would be made. So I'm going to lock it back up. You do not want to do a 180 on this core, because you can see on the bottom here, then all the pins will pop out, which you can fix when you can't get the core out. But this is what happens on those Master 410s when you do 180 the core and it effectively becomes a rattle. Alright, so we're just going to get the C-clip off. Open it up with the key. Turn it slightly counterclockwise. Okay. So we are pinned up to 5 pins on a 6-pin lock. Pin 1 is standard, 2 standard, 3 standard, 4 standard, and 5 is standard. Next up, we'll get the driver pins out. One's a spool. Two's a spool. Three's a spool. Four's a spool. And 5 is lightly serrated. I'm just going to just dump these springs out. They should all be the same. It's regular springs. Okay. Just going to get a close up at the pinning. And that's it. That's the Masterlock 911. You can take a quick look at that lightly serrated pin. Not much serration to it. And all just regular spools. No serration on those. Nothing special on the key pins. Alright guys, well thank you for checking this out. And I hope you liked it, and have a good day.